Hey everyone, welcome to our GitHub Copilot Fridays webinar. GitHub Copilot Friday is our Copilot series that we deliver every second Friday, where GitHub experts explore specific topics, use cases, or persona-based demos so you can get valuable insights for your needs. This session is being recorded and will be available for everyone to revisit at their convenience. Plus, we are excited to offer great coverage for our APAC community by making these recorded sessions available in multiple languages. So, in today's session, we will be diving into GitHub Copilot for educators. So, if you look towards the top right of the Goldcast screen in front of you, you can see that there's a chat window and a Q&A window. So please be sure to drop questions in the Q&A window so I can see them and we can get them answered as we go along. I have my wonderful colleagues here, Georgia and Anthony, and hopefully they can help as well. So I'm Dhanashree, a senior developer advocate at GitHub. I'm excited to show you how Copilot can make education more engaging and future ready. So this just isn't about using a new tool. It's about evolving our teaching methods to prepare our students for the future of technology. This is our agenda for today. First, we will discuss how AI is transforming computer science education. Then we will dive into real-world impact of GitHub Copilot with some hands-on demos. I have lots of demos for you. It'll be super exciting. Finally, we will cover next steps, valuable resources, and open the floor for your questions. So let's get started. So one of the main questions educators are always asking us is how will computer science education need to evolve, considering GitHub and GitHub Copilot are at the cutting edge of this technology? So traditionally, our focus might have been on routine coding, rote memorization of syntax, and repetitive drills. But the landscape is shifting dramatically. So we need to move as well to creative problem solving, critical thinking, and designing impactful solutions. I love the analogy. Someone had done in a research study where they said it's more like a bricklayer versus an architect. So the architect piece is where the humans will shine at, and the bricklayer piece can be done with a tool like GitHub Copilot. So artificial intelligence tools like GitHub Copilot are key to this transition. They help us shift focus from just syntax to true innovation, empowering how our students will thrive in a rapidly changing technology landscape. Now, this also means that we need to adjust how we are designing our assignments, right? So we should aim for assignments that require a deeper understanding of concepts. We can make learning more relatable by incorporating local cultural references and slang into assignments. And most importantly, we should design more project-based assignments to ensure that comprehensive knowledge is being passed on. So where does GitHub come into this? Where this is exactly where GitHub Copilot can help you. So what exactly is GitHub Copilot though? Think of Copilot as your always on artificial intelligence peer programmer that provides real time code suggestions, explanations, and documentation. It helps students and you code, learn, and experiment faster. The best part and one takeaway from this session is this: GitHub Copilot Pro is free for all verified teachers and all verified students. So please be sure to tell your peer group and your students as well. They can enable it today and sign up for it. So having spoken about the challenges that we are seeing in this ever-changing landscape, let's see some practical ways in which we can help you level up your productivity and happiness. When we talk about designing assignments that need deeper understanding of concepts, think about using GitHub Copilot for this. So you can ask GitHub Copilot to help you draft an assignment like this, where students can compare the efficiency of merge sort and quicksort on various data sets. We can instruct them to provide code for both algorithms, test the performance, and write a reflection on which algorithm performs better under which conditions and why. Or think about a more advanced topic like concurrency. Copilot can assist with a prompt for that as well. So let's just get into a quick demo. To see this in action, let's look at GitHub Copilot in your web browser. That's right. simply go to github.com/copilot. Once you are signed in, you can just type in the prompt and GitHub handles the rest. So here I'm asking GitHub Copilot to draft an assignment for a Python programming course where students are given a piece of code that contains a subtle bug related to concurrency, such as a race condition. Now, the assignment should require students to identify and fix the bug, explain the root cause, and propose strategies to prevent similar issues. So, think about this. This moves students beyond just writing code to actually debugging, critical analysis, and proposing best practices. This approach ensures that students must understand both the concept and its application in different scenarios and genuine understanding of the concept. Another thing you can do is ask for iterative or evolving solutions. So your assignments can be split into multiple stages, with each stage building on to the previous, making it difficult to submit pre-written or copied code. Here you can see GitHub Copilot has come up with a fantastic assignment and also submission guidelines and evaluation criteria. The second thing we spoke about was incorporating local cultural references and slang. So you can now prompt a Copilot to include in-class jokes, local references. So think about the local weather, etc. For example, you can ask GitHub Copilot to write assignment instructions for a group project where students must build a chatbot. So use local expressions and references, such as calling a group leader the squad captain or referring to a successful demo as a Tamal presentation in the instructions and comments. This brings a personal touch to the learning experience and keeps from the students from getting bored. Another practical example is helping students interact with real-world data. And let's see this in action with GitHub Copilot. Back to our trusted GitHub Copilot chat on github.com. And here I ask GitHub Copilot to draft an assignment where students develop a Python script that retrieves this week's weather data for their city using a specific API, processes that data to find temperature, trends, and visualizes the results. Now, this also includes guidelines for secure API management and documentation, teaching crucial real world skills. As you can see, in a matter of minutes, Copilot is generating this assignment. A side tip is if you generate assignments or you submit assignments to students that require integration with live data sources or APIs, it pretty much makes it impossible to reuse static code. Here you can see GitHub has also provided some references that the students can look at. Copilot is also excellent for designing comprehensive project-based assignments. We spoke about this, right? So for example, for a web development course, I can have GitHub Copilot design a project assignment for a web development course such that it designs and builds a simple web application that helps local small businesses manage customer feedback. So the app should allow businesses to collect, view, and categorize feedback. It should include features such as user authentication, feedback submission, forms, and an admin dashboard. And provide clear project objectives, deliverables, suggested milestones, and a rubric for evaluating the project. This just makes your life so much easier. And let's see this in action as well. This is the same prompt that I just gave GitHub Copilot. And you can see that Copilot comes back with rich, multifaceted projects with all the necessary guidance and elements efficiently. When we talk about project-based assignments, it gives students a chance to apply what they have learned to real-world problems, which is a much more authentic way to show they understand the material. So I love how the milestones are broken down into weeks, and the rubric is here for your help as well as the students when they are submitting this assignment. Moving on, benefits of GitHub Copilot extend far beyond just assignment creation. It offers more productivity benefits for educators and frees you from boring routine tasks. Think about how many times students were stuck on boilerplate code or they were asking for help with syntax. Now, all of this can be offloaded to GitHub Copilot and you can focus on higher level mentoring. Today, we are seeing educators grappling with a lot of challenges, especially in the age of artificial intelligence. So, we are looking at diverse classrooms. We are looking at juggling fast changing technology, growing demands with supporting learners with diverse backgrounds, and managing limited time and resources. What can we do to help you? Well, we can help you to let you do more without burning out. So, to give you an idea, streamlining course material creation is again something that most educators dread at the beginning of the academic year because it means that you have to maintain numerous assignments, tests, and rubrics for courses. This is challenging. Now, with GitHub Copilot, you can quickly generate assignments, test cases, and rubrics, improving efficiency and consistency. So you can prompt Copilot to draft a detailed grading rubric for a sorting algorithm, including sections for code efficiency, correctness, and code readability. So this saves immense time in just the rubric development. You can also automatically generate a quiz with 10 multiple choice questions on linked lists, complete with answer keys. Imagine the time that you can save on assessments. So looking at this in action, this is the prompt that I had given GitHub Copilot. And within a matter of minutes, it comes back with this quiz. Today, in this rapidly changing AI era, we are seeing some educators go back to a hybrid mode where they are asking questions in an analog way. So you can simply print this sheet, take it with you, and have students answer this maybe orally or in a peer group. And if there are wrong answers, they can talk to each other. They can ask GitHub Copilot for help. And this is how you are leveling up your education and your curriculum as well. One more example here I can give you is of automating repetitive coding tasks. So educators spend significant time on routine syntax help, like I said, boilerplate code, and answering repetitive questions. So with GitHub Copilot, you can automate this routine code generation and answers, allowing you to focus again on personalizing maybe your content or looking at students who are struggling. So we can ask Copilot, for instance, to produce Java starter code for a linked list implementation, complete with constructors, add remove methods, and inline documentation. So let's look at this one in action as well. Here you can see GitHub Copilot has generated this piece of code, and this means that you spend less time on setup and more time on teaching concepts. A couple of things I would like to call out is one, this is GitHub Copilot. So you are definitely in the driver's seat throughout this entire process. If you don't like the suggestion that Copilot has given you, feel free to keep chatting with it and iterating over the answers. What works best is clear, concise prompts, giving it strict guidelines on what you want to see, maybe a framework, maybe an example. That really works really well. There is a whole section and a whole session that we can do on prompt engineering, but I would highly recommend that you look at that. I think prompt engineering is so powerful in order to be able to get the right answers from such a powerful tool. Next thing that we looked at is keeping technical content current. Today, when the industry practices are evolving so quickly, integrating new technologies into curriculum is exhausting along with your day-to-day work. So you can rely on GitHub Copilot to supply real-world current examples and demos to keep teaching materials relevant and engaging. You can ask GitHub Copilot something like, what libraries are best for this particular job? Or what does the Seaborn library do and how does it compare to other similar libraries? Or you can ask things like, this library is deprecated, what can I use instead? Suggest real world case studies from 2024 where Kubernetes was used to solve industry problems, and so on and so forth. Here I have a couple of examples. Let's look at GitHub Copilot in action. Now you will notice that I have moved from github.com to my favorite IDE, Visual Studio Code. GitHub Copilot is now available on most of your favorite editors, and installing it is just very, very simple. So GitHub Copilot works seamlessly across the web and github.com and your IDEs. You can simply chat with GitHub Copilot, GitHub Copilot now offers you three modes: ask, edit, and agent mode. So if you're starting out with a new project, you can start with ask mode. If you want to understand what that project does, or you want to set up a project from scratch, you want to understand what's the best library to do a particular thing, think about it like chatting with your colleague. Edit mode is when you know that there are multiple files that need changing, you know where what changes are to be made, you know the exact input and the output, then use the edit mode. And agent mode is our most powerful mode yet. I like to joke that if you want to just grab a cup of tea or coffee, just let GitHub Copilot in agent mode, run with it, and you'll get your time back. Although the important thing to note is GitHub Copilot in agent mode also will not do any changes, will not make any changes without your approval. Over here, you'll see I have asked GitHub Copilot to write example code to demonstrate REST API integration using the most recent version of Django. And GitHub Copilot is looking up the documentation. It's coming back with a lot of details for me that I can now look in. Now I can copy this to a new file. I can again ask it for alternate solutions, and I can ask it for more explanations about this piece of code. Why did it suggest this piece of code? What does this piece of code do? Can it generate inline comments for me? All of this is possible with GitHub Copilot. So this ensures your curriculum remains relevant and reflects industry standards. Imagine you're talking to GitHub Copilot in your natural language. It can be English, Hindi, Spanish, French, and you can have it generate, answers that make the most sense without you feeling or without your students feeling judged or overwhelmed about going and asking someone else for help. Now, providing detailed feedback and explanations for student code requires significant time and effort. You can ask GitHub Copilot to suggest hints without giving the complete answer for documentation and tailored feedback for individual learners supporting all abilities. In this case, I have asked GitHub Copilot to provide detailed feedback and explanations for a student code and noting what works, what doesn't, and how the students can improve both the logic and the coding style. As you can see, Copilot is looking at the reference I provided, but it's also going ahead and looking at index.html to figure out what this application actually does. Now, GitHub Copilot is generating this feedback and giving you areas of improvement. Not just areas of improvement, but better approaches of doing things. So, everyone doesn't know everything, but once you teach your students or your developers how a certain thing can be done in a good way, chances are that they won't repeat their mistakes, right? Here you can see GitHub Copilot is giving you sections on logic improvement, on coding style recommendations. Another important piece is, edge cases, boundary cases that you may have missed. And it gives you a nice summary here at the bottom where it's talking about overall assessment. It's giving me the strengths, the growth areas, and next steps that the students can now take. I hope you're finding this super useful, and please feel free to watch this at your own time once you get the recording. Personalizing learning experiences is something that we again face a lot. So differentiating practice and support for students with diverse skill sets and backgrounds can be difficult. For example, imagine that you have a struggling student in your class who's struggling with a recursion problem. So you can ask GitHub Copilot to provide a step-by-step hints, again, to help with this recursion problem without revealing the full solution. What this does is encourages independent problem solving without the students feeling discouraged. You can also ask GitHub Copilot to examine a specific algorithm, explain its time complexity using simple language suitable for students new to algorithm analysis. This makes complex topics even more accessible. Here you will see GitHub Copilot in action, and I have asked it just that about the algorithm. So within a matter of minutes, it's giving me the response, but also explaining it to me in simple terms. Now you can quickly take this piece of feedback, give it to the students, or teach them how they can learn this themselves step by step and iteratively. So they can build upon knowledge and they can ask for more questions in the specific area that they are struggling. Supporting diverse learners is another challenge that we have seen. So think about educators, who are addressing varied linguistic backgrounds, unique learning needs that require additional resources and adaptation. So with GitHub Copilot, educators can now provide inclusive explanations and supplemental resources for students with different learning needs, with different accessibility needs. It can be something like dyslexia, or a glossary for technical terms used for students for whom English is not the first language, so English as a second language students. This time, of the three modes that I spoke about, I use GitHub Copilot in agent mode. And I asked GitHub Copilot to rewrite the script with dyslexia-friendly comments and variable names, using clear language, extra spacing, and suggestions for adding color-coded highlights or visual aids. As you can see, GitHub Copilot is going ahead and giving me these answers. The difference is shown as well, so I can accept what I want to. I can accept parts of the solution, the entire solution, or no parts at all, and just ask it to keep iterating. Here you will see that GitHub Copilot provided me the response, but also is going a step ahead and looking at the syntax error which it's trying to fix. Now it's going ahead and rewriting the method signatures to add proper implementations. And again, it's looked at another syntax issue and it's trying to fix that as well. Please note that of all of these demos that I have shown you today, I may have trimmed some just in the interest of time for speed, but all of the responses are completely unedited. This is exactly what GitHub Copilot has returned. Here you can see three files that have been changed: dyslexia-friendly settings, a dyslexia-friendly guide, and a program.cs. And you can see all the detailed guidelines that GitHub Copilot has generated for us, again, just in a matter of minutes. And coming to the end of our demos, GitHub Copilot and GitHub are constantly evolving. I would love for you to keep, on top of what's happening in GitHub Copilot world. So we recently announced Copilot Spaces. Think of it as, a place where you can upload all of your domain specific or your student specific information, and you can have Copilot act as a subject matter expert based on your domain. Another thing we touched on is security. Again, security is so important. Use GitHub Copilot to learn and stay up to date with security best practices. Have it generate fun quizzes that you can ask your students to work on. Check out GitHub Copilot agent mode. I just showed you one demo with GitHub Copilot in agent mode. You can use it to build your own landing page or even your own portfolio in just minutes. It truly is magical. Do check out all the links that I have given you here. Finally, responsible AI usage as educators is extremely important. This is one of your key responsibilities. So you can empower learning with GitHub Copilot by guiding students to critique, not just copy AI generated code. You can promote ethical, structured artificial intelligence use, and you can ensure equitable access and literacy for all learners anywhere in the world, no matter where they're situated. I hope this is super exciting for you. So, what are the next steps to leverage GitHub Copilot in your teaching? I encourage you to explore the Teacher Toolbox. The Teacher Toolbox is a resource hub for educators and administrators to get started with GitHub. It includes helpful links, sample curriculum, use cases, courses, and articles that you can get help with in your classroom. You can access Teacher Toolbox at gh.io/teacher-toolbox. Two other links I want to leave you with today is the Education Community Exchange. So this is a fantastic place to find discussions related to your questions or to start a new discussion of your own. You can access it using this QR code. You can also look at the GitHub Education Resource Guide. This is packed with tutorials, documentation, videos, and sample curriculum for everyone. You can even send this to your students so they can upskill themselves really quick. Thank you so much for attending this talk today.